Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise as the President of the Republic comes in. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Commissioners are ready? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what is the National Results Operation Center. It will soon be what was the National Results Operation Center for the 2024 elections, the national and provincial elections. As I begin, Your Excellency, Your Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Deputy President, Mr. Paul Mashatile, Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, Acting Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Lichesa Tsinoli, the Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, the leadership of the National House of Traditional Leaders, the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, and other ministers present, members of the Interministerial Committee, members of the Diplomatic Corps, deputy ministers, the Executive Mayor of the City of Johannesburg, Mr. Kabelo Gomanda, and Directors General present. Heads of state institutions, the Security Cluster, including the National Commissioner, General Masimula, that's the National Commissioner of Police, leaders and representatives of all political parties and independent candidates, Chapter 9 and 10 institutions, domestic and international observers, all civil society, all faith-based organizations, outgoing chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Home Affairs, Mr. Musa Chabane, Ms. Chabeni, Minister in the Presidency, former commissioners of the Electoral Commission, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Msutu Miepa, fellow commissioners, the Electoral Commission's Chief Electoral Officer, Mr. Saima Mambulo, and his Executive Committee, and to our sponsors and our partners, and I'm going to name them now. The Telcom Board, with their Chief Executive Officer, Exero Board, and their Chief Electoral Officer, the SABC Board, and their Chief Executive Officer, and more especially, the staff of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, members of the media, without whom we would not be able to do the job that we do, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Good evening and welcome to the ceremony to announce the results of the 2024 national and provincial elections. As I said, Your Excellency, before you came in, it's a very short program, but I hope that it is worth every while. It is a reflection of much joy, sweat, nerves. It's the culmination of that process. And during this hour that you are going to be here, we ask you to reflect on the journey that we have walked and celebrate the moment that we are in here. We've had bumpy rides, we've had smooth sails, we've had bumps against our walls, and here we are, we're still standing. And I think that's a good thing. And having said that, there's no better way to mark this moment than to say South Africa's prayer, our national anthem. I ask you to rise and observe the necessary decorum as we say our prayer. Thank you. The silence so that you can savor that prayer. Thank you. Thank you very much. You may be seated. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you once again the Chief Electoral Officer of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Simon Mambulo. I think it is proper that I introduce him because he's not the same person that you knew before we came to the Rock. And so it is fitting that I reintroduced him. CEO, it's your turn.
Excellency, the President, that Cyril Ramaphosa, Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic, that Mashatile, Chief Justice of the Republic, that Raymond Zondo, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, that Mosotho Moepya, Commissioners of the Electoral Commission, Ministers in government, Minister Naledi Pandor, Minister Nchabeni, and Minister Mantashe. Representatives of constitutional institutions, accounting officers in government, leaders of faith-based institutions, former chairpersons of the Electoral Commission and vice chairperson, Tate Moseneke, leaders in business, leaders in our system of traditional leadership, provincial electoral officers and senior staff of the Commission, members of the diplomatic corps, and representatives of observer missions. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed citizens of our great nation, today marks a pivotal point on our democratic journey as we gather to draw a curtain on the momentous 2024 national and provincial elections. We stand before the nation to present an account of the delivery of an election, and we do so with a deep sense of national duty. Election 2024 was like no other before. It had salient features pointing to an ever-increasing magnitude of political dynamism, an effervescent electoral environment, and operational complexity. The democratic soul of a people is in part determined by its electoral architecture. Such a democratic soul is naturally defined by the constitutional and other statutory mechanisms enshrined to elect those entrusted the privilege of governing public affairs. Since the proclamation of the elections in February, our country has been on a journey to impart practical content to our electoral democratic soul. Even with novel challenges and political contours never experienced before, the 2024 election is a moment of democratic affirmation. In this very arena, we experienced electoral transparency of superlative proportions. Indeed, this was a theater of openness. As has been the case in the past 30 years, our democracy has spoken. Indeed, the people have expressed their political choices through the ballot box. We must now act to honor the choice of the voter, for an election is an inquiry on the political choices of the moment. In an election, the choice of the voter is sovereign. And I suppose this begs a repetition. In an election, the choice of the voter is sovereign. It may not be negated in any form whatsoever. Hence, the commitment we made to the South African voters when we assumed responsibility for organizing this election, that we will always honor their choices. It is therefore an opposite moment for honoring that commitment that we made to the South African people. And we honor it without prevarication. The chairperson of the commission will shortly pronounce the aggregate choice of the voter in the form of an election result. Operational and technological glitches notwithstanding, election 2024 represents a credible record of the political choices of the voters in the country. Accounts of observer experiences bear eloquent testimony to this, as does the election satisfaction survey conducted by the Human Sciences Research Council. Salient aspects in this regard are as follows. Results indicated that voters overwhelmingly believe that national elections 2024 were free and fair, and they positively rated the conduct of officials at voting stations. I was going to ask for an applause on that one. Trust in the Electoral Commission was high, and almost all voters felt that they were safe to cast their ballot papers in secret. The majority of the voters felt that the IEC adequately considered the needs of vulnerable groups, being the elderly and persons with disabilities. But queuing time at voting stations increased relative to more recent elections, which had a bearing on electoral evaluations. Indeed, over 90% of sample voters during the elections were generally satisfied with the voting procedures. The voters also expressed unequivocal confidence in the Commission. The 30 years of our transition from apartheid to a multi-party democracy has benefited not only this country, but the rest of the continent by hugely contributing to promotion of democratic governance, peace, and development. This reality reminds us that elections are not an end in themselves, but elections are an instrument of national and continental development. For electoral democracy to take root, regular elections must be accompanied by the collective responsibility we share to incubate a spirit and indeed a disposition that enables us to graciously accept the definitive choices of the voter. Imperatives of national unity demand of us to work together within institutions of public representation. The champion of the Festival of Electoral Democracy we are concluding today are the 16.2 million voters who cast their ballots. The act of civic action reinforces South Africa as an irrevocable democracy grounded on, amongst other values, regular, free, and fair elections. We commend every voter for their patience and tolerance as they exercise their fundamental right to participate in this democratic process. Your act of civic engagement will fundamentally shape the course of our nation's future. To paraphrase Mahatma Gandhi's saying, the greatness of an electoral system is how it treats those in special circumstances. The definition of the democratic soul of a people without the involvement of compatriots with varied special circumstances can be best described as nugatory. Our electoral democratic expression must thus, of necessity, make provision for voters in special circumstances. In this election, a whopping 1.1 million voters used this special voting dispensation to record their political choice. Let's give them a round of applause. As a cardinal election management practice, the Commission will hold a debriefing session in the near future to consider in a comprehensive manner the gaps identified through the surveys, as well as the recommendations of domestic and international observers. This exercise assists us to improve our systems and practices for the next set of elections. We also wish to thank all state and non-state role players, especially business leaders, for their immeasurable contribution to the holding of this democratic election in our country. Their selfless support is what makes South Africa a great nation, an example of true multi-party democracy. Finally, I thank all the commissioners for your leadership and guidance, all members of staff, members of ESCO, members of the management committee, all regional leadership, including the 200,000 staff members who took charge of the voting process on election day. They did so and performed beyond the line of duty, and I wish to thank you all. Ke a leboga.
Thank you very much, CEO. Thank you very much. Give him another round of applause, if you will. Thank you. On that note, I wish to call to the lectern, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Msutu Miepe, to give us his remarks. Chair.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, the Chief Justice of the Republic, the Deputy President of the Republic, the extinguished guests that are here with us tonight, I want to acknowledge all of you and thank you for being here with us on this occasion. There are many of you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There are many leaders of political parties and independent candidates that are here with us tonight who have contested these elections. And I want to say to them, their supporters, and all citizens of this beautiful nation, thank you. Thank you. Distinguished guests, when I look to my right, I really see a very beautiful history of where this nation has been and back. I see former chairpersons of the Electoral Commission, men and women of stature, men and women who have gone before us and really selflessly got us to where we are, even from a distance, lending your helping hand. We appreciate you. Fellow compatriots, distinguished guests, the 2024 national and provincial elections are all but concluded. This moment marks a pivotal juncture in our nation's democratic journey, a testament to the resilience and unwavering commitment to our people and to this beautiful land, to the freedom, the equality that we enjoy in this democracy. As we gather here tonight, let us reflect on the significance of a moment such as this, for it is not merely a culmination of an electoral process, but a celebration of the very essence of our democracy. These elections have tested our strength and the strength of our institution. They've put the integrity of our systems clear for all to see and to test. They have shown and demonstrated the resolve of our citizens to embrace democracy at a time such as this. These elections were undoubtedly the most difficult and the most highly contested. As a nation, we have emerged triumphant, having conducted these elections with the utmost transparency, with fairness, and with adherence to the high standards that are expected from a practice of any election management practitioner. There are many challenges we've had to negotiate and overcome. My fellow compatriots, the path to this moment has been paved by the sacrifices of those who came before us. And I truly want to say to you, we must recognize them and thank them even as we celebrate. Just as the watershed elections of 1994 laid the foundation for our democratic order, the 2024 elections mark a significant milestone in the continued growth and maturing of our nation's electoral processes and the deepening of its democracy. Throughout this endeavor, the Electoral Commission of South Africa has never sought to waver from its commitment to deliver elections compliant with South Africa's constitutional order. To do this, the Electoral Commission put significant measures in place to safeguard these elections. Yet, our journey was not without challenges. It sometimes entailed significant attacks on members and key staff of the Commission, attempts to undermine the credibility of the institution and some of its key personnel. We've seen relentless and targeted social media attacks, disinformation campaigns, unwarranted allegations, and sometimes what appeared to be bare acts of intimidation. As an institution with enormous amount of responsibility to the nation that we all love, and one we all call home, we persevered and remained on the challenges before us. We had to keep that focus. At all material times, we understood that the sanctity of the democratic process transcends individual interests or personal grievances. We remained steadfast in our constitutional mandate, rising above the distractions faced at all times to ensure that the will of the people of this beautiful land is accurately reflected in the outcomes of the elections we will conduct. Thank you. In any election, and in anywhere in the world, when an election is about to be concluded, everyone is on their tenterhooks. And this we have all experienced from here and everywhere in the country. We've had many of you send us messages to encourage us, to support us, and to even say you are praying with us. We've had many of you finding out what would be the things you could do to help us move in a manner that will not distract us from anything. To all of you, receive our warm love and greetings from all of us in this commission and the many thousands that have worked in these elections, contestants, candidates, their supporters, observers, everyone. The state has worked in many ways with us, hand in hand. And to all of you, we want to say thank you. Lekamoso. And now, it is with profound humility that we announce the results of the 2024 National. I come back. I truly want to tell you that there were times when you never knew what day of the week it was, but we are over. South Africa, now it is the opportunity that we offer and honor with profound humility as we announce the 19 elections we have just concluded and their results. These results represent the collective voice of our nation, men and women across all strata of society, standing one with another in the queues, and in fact, going through this electoral process and knowing that that was a badge of honor that everyone had to be adorned with. And so, ladies and gentlemen, these are the results that represent the collective voices of our nation. We do so as we start with the results of the provincial legislatures. And now I present those results on the board for you. fellow South Africans, ladies and gentlemen, after carefully considering the extensive measures put in place and acknowledging the provisions of Section 57(3) of the Electoral Act 1998, the Electoral Commission of South Africa declares the results of the 2024 national and provincial elections as free and fair. This moment is a triumph for our democracy, a victory for the principles of transparency, a measure that we can reflect on even as we take stock of accountability and the rule of law in our land. Let us celebrate this achievement while remaining vigilant, for the work of strengthening democracy is one that truly never ends. Together, we must continue to build a nation that serves as a beacon of hope, a shining example of what can be achieved when the power of the people is harnessed for greater good. I extend heartfelt gratitude to all of you who made these elections possible. I want to single each one of you here and everywhere in this beautiful land. There are many South Africans that have spoken from many points of the world. To them too, I say thank you. We now take this moment to remind all of us that South Africa is an enduring democracy, but we are not where we should be. And every day we must work hard to continue on this journey. Let me thank you all, even as I ask that the Lord will bless our country, South Africa, and prosper her people. It is now my singular honor to hand over to the elected peoples of this nation, to hand over a list to the elected peoples in these elections, to the President of the Republic of South Africa, even as I ask him and invite him to come to the podium. Mr. President, do please come. Oh, let us come. Ladies and gentlemen, I do truly apologize. I do truly apologize that I gave you a summary of the elections for the provincial summary. Please do bear with me. It has been a long journey. It has been a long journey. Let us now receive the results of the national